Giving hope to the hopeless, blessed to flow this, descending from an ancient line of poets, starting with the Olmecs down through the Mexicas. A whole race of knowledge seekers, keepers of a universal wisdom. Physically gone, still we're living with them, unified by one vision. So corporate Christians can't really blind it with religion. It's like burning stones, they only get heated. Get it through your head, we can't be defeated. You cheated, lied, stole, murdered and raped, but one thing you can't take is our love and faith. You might get our bodies, yet our souls will escape, and the soul is a very hard thing to break. So go ahead, keep secrets in your societies. Eventually Creator will reveal these to me. A whole race of knowledge seekers, a whole race of knowledge seekers, a whole race of knowledge seekers, keepers of a universal wisdom.
I rise like the rays of the sun, like the gods did in Teotihuacan, traveling beyond the limitations of your expectations. You must have forgotten my people's creations. Temples misinterpreted for pyramids, with exact placements in accordance with the galactical locations. The temple of the sun is the sun's interpretation, as is Quetzalcoatl, the morning star's manifestation. So the temple of the feathered serpent is Venus's representation. All of this and so much more, yet you continue to define us bloodthirsty savages. Reality is you don't know what harmony is. Rhythms, emotions, knowledge that could fill millions of oceans, bringing to an end your abstract notions. We're beyond the optical, so much more than the physical. Reality's universal, and within you and me is that divine energy. We are just vibrating at a different frequency, and that is the reason why you are able to see me.
A whole race of knowledge seekers, a whole race of knowledge seekers, a whole race of knowledge seekers, keepers of a universal wisdom.
My soul vibrates in harmonious rhythm because I represent the ancient men and women, expanding your mind, connecting you with time, not the one you keep track of, but the one from the heavens above, the sacred skies, the universe, the mother of our birth, the one that can take away the curse felt for hundreds of years. It seems to me, all we're fighting is fear, but what you don't understand is nature's stronger than man. Secret societies and the Ku Klux Klan. Maker of night, giver of life. Give me the strength to continue the fight, because it doesn't end with me. It rages on through eternity, through eternity, through eternity.
A whole race of knowledge seekers, a whole race of knowledge seekers, a whole race of knowledge seekers, keepers of a universal wisdom. With so much on my mind at one time, at times I wish I could recline and just press rewind. But I'm knowing life's not a VCR recorder. It just plays forward even through this world order. Elite, they know when their time is growing shorter in this fourth quarter. Swine's getting colder, harder. Still I'm striving, finding inspiration from my goddaughter and all true hip-hoppers. And the people keeping their heads up top, the waters flooding in from the government's involvement. See, they creating problems, then they claim to have a remedy to solve them. But what they really doing is robbing society blind. How they do this first is capture your mind, entice it with luxuries that shine, and even have you put your trust in green box. That's when they stole your soul, having it crave exterior gold. So your body's led astray off all the pay. You slave at a job, never giving a thought. You're being robbed of your very life force. Behold a pale horse, of course, but don't fear it. Gotta listen to your spirit. Behold a pale horse, of course, but don't fear it. You gotta listen to your inner spirit. Behold a pale horse, of course, but don't fear it, cause you gotta listen to your inner spirit.
Coming at you with a nationalist view, like Corky Gonzalez, re-educate you. 13 levels of my mind I'll come across with that militant talk, ready to set it off. Cause when I step I build, for my people plow a field, plant the corn, new generation born, protect those seeds like a warrior from the sun, ready take it to the next millennium. Cause it's war, devil, ancient souls against secret circles. See, my soul goes back to the Maya, Mexica, Sioux, Lakota and Huichol.
So take those dog titles back, I ain't a ski soul. My soul goes deeper than that. I'll turn into a bat. 2 seconds later, you'll feel a jaguar on your back. 0 for the attack, you trying to take me out? I'll come back with 13,000 other jaguar spirits.
Jaguar warriors ascending, ego warriors descending, defending, never surrendering, negativity's ending, bringing oppression to an end like the easy all in. No longer existing on our knees, but living on our feet. No defeat, no retreat. Mexica Tiawi, before thee I stand, an indigenous man, native to this land. Cotijas my clan, I'm one with the sand, trees, leaves, and the evening breeze. I represent every element, the water, the wind, the earth, and the fire. Fully dressed in my indigenous warrior attire, like Huitzilopochtli, confronting the enemy, defending my indigenous family eternally to the final victory, fulfillment of a prophecy. Even before the Anasazi, intertribal link goes back further than you think. The black and red ink, watching Western theory sink like the great Titanic, out in the middle of the Atlantic, out by the Bermuda Triangle. I'm coming at you from a different angle. Ancient traditional circle gives us spiritual power universal to the warrior that's noble.
Yo.
What's good, LA natives? We back.
Check. 1 2 1 2. LA Natives Podcast, Las Aslan Natives Podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. Man, another great episode. Man, we're already in episode 112, bro.
Yeah, we've been
It's
doing
crazy.
this for
Time
for
flies.
A minute. Yeah, it's a minute. And the community that we've built off of it, I think, is loyal. Super dedicated to our message and our mission. And thanks to Malinali Superfoods, thanks to Plant-Based Aslan, thanks to all these things that help us, create this community for everyone.
So, last week we just got notified that we qualify for super chats and super stickers and all this crap that YouTube offers, where like someone could send a couple bucks to prioritize their question. I don't know if you guys noticed that trend. Like a lot of these bigger YouTubers, they only answer questions to people who send them super chats.
Oh, okay, like more personalized messages and stuff like that. Okay.
Well,
So we're moving on up in the YouTube.
We're moving on up.
in the
The
YouTube journey,
YouTube algorithm.
in the algorithm.
Well, I mean, more than that, the people that kind of support us on the chat that are already commenting, and people that I've reached out to in the past weeks. I have a guest that I want to bring on, and it's cool because she's a female, and she's not from Los Angeles. She's from Houston, Texas. So shout out to the hermana from out there.
Yo.
And
Hi.
welcome her on. What's up? How you
Hello.
Welcome,
Good. How are y'all?
doing?
Good,
Good.
good.
Oh, I like the background. It's cool.
Thank you.
We got Daniel in the ones and twos.
Daniel.
What's going on, Daniel?
What's up, brother?
Brother?
I woke up.
That's
Oh,
right.
fucking Daniel had to text. I gotta start texting.
Got that
I gotta
beauty
start
sleep.
texting Daniel at 2:00. Daniel,
Hey,
don't forget.
shout out to my nephew. It's his birthday today, man. So
Hey
Okay,
Daniel,
happy birthday.
I didn't get to tell you that we're gonna have a guest on, and this is the young lady from Texas. She's from Houston.
surprise.
Texas.
Well, welcome. Welcome, as you said. And she's a female.
Yeah,
I love that. Well, nice.
she's effeminate.
Well, you know what? Honestly, my wife recently said that we need more women guests and speakers on this podcast. Little did she know, like last week we had a female running the boards.
Yeah,
Shout out
exactly.
Natasha.
She planted the seed.
Thank you, Natasha, for helping out. We don't want to have a void in our audience, and I look forward to doing it every Wednesday. So, I'm trying to keep this show moving forward and building community. So that's the important part of having you come on the podcast, and for us that are here on the West Coast, over here in Los Angeles, understanding that we do have relatives that come from other parts of Turtle Island, and this part happens to be Houston, Texas, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely. So tell us about yourself. Tell us your name. Tell us everything.
So my name is Nereya Salazar, but the community here know me by Energy for short.
Nice.
I basically, I'm a danzante Azteca. I'm a curandera, massage therapist, do doula. I'm an artist. I'm a I do protesting, so an activist as well. And so yeah, that's pretty much. I'm a mom. I'm fixing to be a grandma soon.
Oh, shit.
I'm like literally waiting for my grandbaby to be born, like today or tomorrow or so. So
Wow. Congratulations. Congratulations. Well, it's crazy that Texas is kind of making a connection here because my grandparents are from Texas. They're from I think they're from either El Paso or Houston, Texas. I know they never really sat me down and talked to me about it because, we were already over here and I never went on vacation over there. I guess when they left Texas, they kind of left it permanently because they came to Los Angeles in like the 30s, but they came from Texas, from El Paso, Texas, or I think Houston, Texas.
Dude, I'm just hearing nothing but negative shit coming out of Texas, bro. Because apparently, like, the white man rules over there. All the immigrants deported, bro. Trump is like, Texas is his land. Is George Bush's land. Energy, like, everything that's coming in through these mainstream media sources, it just seems like Texas right now is doom and gloom.
well, I mean, when it comes to like all that politics stuff, like, I mean, over here it's more like La Raza or like the Mexica people or the natives, like that I know of. I mean, there's a lot of people who aren't really into that movement, into like voting, into like all of that, and there's the
They're
rest.
just survivors, right? They're just survivors. They're just
I was just gonna say that. You stole it out of my mouth. I was gonna say the other half are just trying to survive.
Well, I mean, more like it. What I would like to ask, it's maybe not so much did people vote or what your opinion is on the whole political thing, but the effects of it, right? There's side effects to people being in office. One of the side effects, which we've seen recently, is people being brave enough to say, recently there was, I think I saw a post where a father came out with a gun and shot it in the air because his kids were playing with somebody of color, person of color, right? So that's kind of the question that I would ask from being from a place that's known to be, I don't know, I guess, I'm from the West Coast. I've never been there, so I don't know if it's racist or not.
I walked into a Walmart and almost everyone is like showing their guns on their waist. Literally.
Well, because it's open carry.
I mean, here in Texas, I mean, there pretty much are laws that you can carry guns. So, I mean, like,
So everybody's strapped.
the manager, pretty much, the manager here, like, I mean, he's an older man. He, like, was helping me here move some things around, and he just had his gun, like, out like that, and I was like, okay. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm always carrying a gun with me, and I'm just like, okay. So it's normal over here for people to carry guns.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe there's no public land in Texas. Everything's privatized.
Whoa.
There's a few highways where you have to pay to get on.
Whoa. Like a toll?
From what I know.
There's a tollway where you pay to get on and go around. But yeah, you can go on the freeways. They don't charge you. I mean, all of this stuff, they charge us through taxes,
Right.
And we pay taxes through that. But
I guess what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is that there hasn't been an escalation of people just being brave enough to be blatantly racist. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like hey, we're Trumpers and we feel like you're an immigrant, so fucking
look, honestly, Texas, I guess, I don't know, I guess, have y'all been to Texas?
I've been to South by Southwest.
I've been to Boston.
I've been to Austin. Yeah, actually, I did go to South by Southwest, Austin.
Okay, but have y'all been to Houston before?
No.
Yes, I've been to Houston on tour with Necro. Yep.
Been there.
Okay, so Houston is more like it's a little rough out here. It's kind of like LA. I've been to LA too, but I feel like LA has what I saw in LA was a lot more homeless people. Here we have homeless people, but you don't see them like a lot like over there. Like
y'all don't got like a Skid Row or like an area.
Because they have them like they have a lot of like rules over them too. They have them in certain areas too where they're only allowed, and you see them every once in a while like walking in the street and stuff, but they're always walking. They're just like moving, But
No, over here.
Yo, the first time I went to Houston,
here,
we went with Necro. He's an underground rapper. We were performing in downtown, and then we went out to eat. And I guess he's obsessed with Benihanas. He only eats Benihanas, bro.
Oh shit!
Rapper only eats Benihanas, right? So we go, and the table next to us, a group of black dudes, black brothers, you know. Little do we know, as they walk out of the restaurant, they get gunned down right in front of us, right in front of the door of the Benihanas, bro. Wow. We literally had to walk over their bodies to get out of the restaurant. That was my first experience in Houston.
Wow. Is it like that?
Yeah.
There is a lot of ghetto areas in Houston, just like there is anywhere else, or like in LA too, you know, from what I
don't like the term ghetto.
But
like, replace that term, Zero. Like, what would you use instead of ghetto?
Just like impoverished.
It's a low income.
How about urban?
Urban.
You know, like,
I also heard like on the upside though, like a lot of people are moving to Houston. Like there's a lot
of folks from California coming here. There's from all over the place. There's a lot. Like it's starting to be more people here in Houston for sure. Traffic is starting to get worse, you know.
And you know, I'm by no means I hope we're not giving the impression that, you know, Houston is a bad place or
Texas is beautiful. Texas is a great state. It's one of the biggest. It's the biggest state in the U.S.
It is.
Yeah,
and it touches the widest side of Mexico. You know,
when I had a conversation with Energy the other day, I kind of just got a vibe of just someone who's like me but lives in a totally different place and has totally different, you know, perspectives towards things, but still a part of the same tribe, right? Because I know with your danza, it's focused on community. I'm sure it's focused on learning. With your massage work and your practices that you offer to the community that you serve, I mean, I just wanted, because we had a little bit of a conversation of like, you know, saying, like, I think that you said not very many people are into that way of life. Am I correct?
Yeah.
In that area, where in California, I mean, it's almost everywhere. Right. You know, it's like communities are everywhere. I'm not saying that we're saturated down here, but you know, if I go to San Francisco, there's a community. If I go to even as far as Humboldt County, which is like close to Oregon, I still can find a community up there. Yeah. There's a couple of listeners that listen, you know, that are a part of the LA Natives podcast, you know, that are from there. So I just wanted to get that perspective. You know, what is it like over there? You know, and talk about your practice too, and how you go about healing people too, because that's important too. Because, like I said, everybody down here has their own style on that.
Yeah.
You know, and we want to get into that part of it. You know, obviously, you know, Los Angeles has bad areas. I'm sure Houston has bad areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, President Trump is now going to be president, but I guess what I'm trying to come at is what are the effects of those things? Because really, as a native trying to survive on Turtle Island and trying to keep the principles of an ancient time, you need to maneuver and through the challenges. How are you going to maneuver through the challenges? One is understanding those type of practices, which is your curanderismo, your massage work, the connection with the body. I've been in the past couple years really connecting to my body in terms of fasting, in terms of doing certain things that keep me aligned to my spiritual path, right? My destiny, what I work for, what my dream is, and those type of things like massaging, certain type of diet, certain type of teas help you and assist you on this path. So just speak to us a little bit about what you do.
So first off, you had said, like, how does it impact? I was just having a conversation with my son today about just how to balance out basically what we have, our traditions and what we practice, but also balancing it out with the society that we live in. You know, he he pretty much told me that in the schools, in his class, actually, like a day ago or so, like they were talking about the Aztecs and how basically that the main subject about it was that the Aztecs sacrificed people, and how savages and how gore and all they did was about sacrificing. So my son, like, practicing these traditions, like he's inside having a war with himself, like not knowing, because I mean that's part of the system. It's like if they don't answer those questions, like what were the Aztecs known for? Sacrificing, he would get his answer wrong. So like those are the things that we have to deal with. I don't know how much education, like when it comes to sharing in schools out there in LA, but here in Texas, like they're even taking away and banning books that has to do with our cultura. Um, but with my traditions, it is tough the way I went about it. I think for me, for myself, I can't speak for everyone else who practices this, but for myself, it was more of like an awakening, a spiritual awakening for me. Um, After I had my kids, finally realizing that the lifestyle that pretty much society and my parents' traumas pushed on me was taking me down a bad road, right? So finally come to a point where I'm like, everything I'm doing is wrong. There has to be a different way, right? And I always knew that I was connected to the indigenous bloodline, because since I was a little girl, I was the I was a little girl who always asked a lot of questions to my grandparents, to my mom, to my brothers. So a lot of the stories were passed down to me of my familia. And my folks are from Mexico. So I'm first generation born here. Both of my parents are from Mexico. So even as that, like learning my first language was Spanish, and then also learning English in school was very hard for me to adapt to that as well, so a lot of challenges for sure. But once I think it was just the right timing in life. I think it was all meant to be. I think like it was very spiritual for me. Is when I finally came across Aztec dance, and then my maestros, Javier and Marisela Herrera Orozco, they were the ones who took me under their wing and teach me about Aztec dance and the traditions and going to TP ceremonies. And I felt like that was home to me. Like that was everything I needed. And it was the medicines who actually talked to me to show me the visions. I prayed for it. I asked the medicine for the visions, for the answers. And it was that showed me this is it. This is the vision that my mom spoke about, that my brother spoke about, because it's a gift that we have in our family, right? The curanderismo of helping people when they're hurt or when they're sick, right? So that was already passed down to me in the household at home. And so me watching that and me going as a little girl to a curanderas all the time, in and out of curanderas homes, that's how I started, picking it up as a little girl growing up. So for me, it was just like, here we go again. We're going to a curandera, like it was so much to me that I just was like normal, But once I started picking up that responsibility, because my mom life went left and she just adapted to surviving and adapted to the colonial way of just like diving deep and killing yourself at work, you know what I mean, like, and not really enjoying life, and not really, because she was a single mom of 4 kids, so I saw all of that through the medicine. And that's when I picked up the responsibility of continuing to heal myself so that I can create a new path. And that's why I like really synchronize with that song that you say, it's not a song, where it says never go back. Never go, like that's why I knew that once I got on this path, like this is it. Like this is it. Like I'm not gonna go back to that. Like I left all of that. And so I just try to do better and continue to keep these traditions, teach my kids these traditions, and planning on teaching my grandkids these traditions, and really like taking care of it and hugging and embracing it. When I finally embraced it, I felt like I needed to have the courage to step forward for my family, because it was very scary, because it's like, how do I move forward with these gifts that we have and not be judged for it? You know, and even my own community, like a lot of my own community, a lot of the community from danza, they as soon as I started making an actual career and a lifestyle from curanderismo so that I can actually live and make a living out of it, they had an issue with it. They had a problem with it. They had something to say against me. They had to say that all of this, all of that. But it's like, this is also part of my journey as well, and I have to also feed my family. I also have to pay. Like, nothing is free nowadays, you know. And I helped a lot of the community. I started off doing it by donation. Man, I had people lined up outside, you know, and I helped out a lot of people. I helped out people for $5 sometimes, you know. Like, I busted my ass and like sweat, hurting from my hands, you know, whatever I could do to help people out. And everything that I have now is from the bottom. And I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm still going forward. And it's tough, because even when I got this office here, the it's an office building in the middle of a little city that's already dying down in business here. It's a big business building, so it's very much colonized with everybody. I've had people from the same office building come in. When I first had I used to sell artesanía mexicana. I had collabed with another indigenous brother of mine and told him, hey, let's get together, come sell all of your indigenous stuff, you know, let's help each other out, you know. And because that's the way I am. I like to also help in whatever I can, right? And so the lady came in, and she was like asking if I sold dolls or something like that. And I was thinking, well, like the little muñequitos from Mexico, you know, like the ones with the moñitos and stuff. And she thought that I was doing like voodoo or witchcraft here, and she got scared, and she just like took off and left. So I do get people here that come in and they don't know what I'm doing, and they look at the feathers and they look at my tattoos, and you know, they see like pictures of me like in my regalia, or they'll see like the dragon of Quetzalcoatl, you know, and things like that. And they're like I can sense that they don't know what it is, and they'll either step in and feel the energy and feel like me also like inviting them in, or my energy won't go with them because they're so judgmental that I'm like, I have to also protect my own energy and be like, I don't have to see you, you know, because that's my energy too. I got to protect myself too.
Maybe that's the difference between California and Texas, because we kind of don't go through that at all. Like, white people want to be like us. You know what I mean? They want to learn how to be curanderos, and you know, they go to, you know, temescales, and they do things.
There's some
in California, it's like we don't get that experience where you run into a lady that's, you know, usually they're going there on purpose, you know. And I'm not saying that that's I'm just something to note, where it's like maybe it's something that you still have to educate the people you live around, you know, what to do.
Can I step in here?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you remember we were on the beach? You and I, we were chilling. And the guy walks by, and he was like, yeah, I'm an Aztec. We were talking, right? And then the last thing he tells us is, hey, but I'm just going to tell you this, that I don't think that natives should be smoking drugs. And it was like, what the fuck is this guy saying? And that's what happens. These people come, they're looking at us natives.
Yeah, but that's not the same. But that's not the same what she experienced, because she's saying that a white lady came in there and saw all the feathers and got confused.
Right.
And,
She wasn't
Ruben, But this
Oh,
wasn't
she
a.
wasn't. Whoa, that's crazy.
Brother, that's what I'm
but I
saying.
do
It's
get a lot of Hispanic people coming in too.
No, but see, that's another thing. That's
Yeah.
another thing. Like that's like a small, at least around the circles that I live around. You know what I mean? Like the people, the communities that I
Yeah,
go
over
around.
there it's very well known. Here it's really hard to come across just like randomly, like if I go to Walmart, like you'll never see anyone like the way I
Dressed
wear
like
my
you.
jewelry. Like
Right.
I'll be wearing my no ceguera, like I'll be wearing my whole like, proud of who I am, like
Sure.
let them stare down, I don't care. But it's just like sometimes I'll get someone or like little kid to come up and be like, "You're Indian," and I'm like, "Yes, I am." And
Well,
then they go, "Oh," like this little boy came up to me, he goes, "Me too. We're from Mexico." And I was like, "Yeah, me too." And then so like that was pretty cool. Like it's just it's just that's the way it is here, It's not very well known to bump in and yeah, you see native people, but they don't know. They don't know that they carry that blood. I feel like a lot of it has to do that they're very Christian, very much
absolutely.
into that
Hmm.
Christian spirituality that and for me as a curandera, like I always tell people when they come in, look, you pray however you pray, I'm not gonna judge you for what you believe in and stuff. I'm just here to help you and with creator, I'm gonna pray on you or over you or you know
Well,
and I and
you
I do have other deities or saint or not saint, well, sort of like saying like Virgencita Guadalupe, but I know the different stories between that image, and sometimes I teach that to people, and that's how they start to have their awakening. They get to understand it a little bit further down, and then they feel it because they're like, I do feel like this medicine helps me a lot more on my path than going to doctors and that Western medicine, and that's what I do. That's what I do for the community is allow them. And then I even work with them even financially. Sometimes there's ladies, like older ladies, that they don't know how to make an appointment on Booksy, and they're like, "Mija, but I don't know, ando mala, but I don't know how, but like, I don't know how to do all that, and I'm barely getting by." I'm like, "You know how to cook?" And they're like, "Yeah, bring me lunch. Y yo te sobo." Like I'm like that. I still help out the community too, and even in that form. So I still trade and things like that too if I need to.
It's cool.
You
What's
know,
up?
too, I
Go,
was just
go,
saying,
go for
it
it.
reminded me. Okay, now I live in the Bay Area. I don't live where Ruben lives, and I don't live in an area where you live. I live where pretty much American people live, and I'm a diverse face in a pretty diverse crowd. But I was the same when I was a little boy. My mother would take us to East San Jose to a sobador.
Mm,
Same thing. He would come and sometimes I'd be playing soccer and man, I just fuck up my leg and
yeah.
I couldn't even walk. And my mom said, "Okay, man, we're gonna go over to this guy." And just like you said,
Mhm.
he'd go and I'd be kind of in the garage. I'd just feel like kind of
Yeah.
weird, there's a bunch of Mexicanos outside. So he'd take me in there and he'd just feel me down. And all of a sudden he'd just and just rep me and I'd be, oh shit, and then he'd fix me. And the
Yeah.
thing was that then he asked my mom. He said, "Dame lo que puedes. Give me
Mhm.
what you can." And I was like, and as a kid, I remember that. And I went to him like 3 times. So,
Mhm.
but when you think about it, it's interesting because I live up north, and up north, there's East San Jose. We have different little pockets of culture, but now it's a very diverse community. But I remember that. And it's interesting as you're saying that. I was also going to say this too is that I grow my own sage and we burn sage. And sometimes people don't like the sage. And it's like, you know what? The sage is working. Okay. And so when you're there and those people leave,
Mhm.
try
Yeah.
not to feel guilty about it because it's interesting to me. Like you're in a stage where we were maybe 10 or 20 years ago. It's like we're moving in a different speed, but it's a movement. It's moving in the correct direction. Because
Mhm.
I like what you say. It reminds me of when I was a little boy. And I think of it.
Mhm.
But it's yeah, it's just interesting. Because but again, John, I'll take it back to this item with me in Texas. I'm cannabis. I'm weed, and man, Texas and weed to me seems like man just voodoo.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that is out there, but to me, I don't like that at all. Like I was followed in Texas from they followed me from one county to the next county, and I was like, it made me mad. But you know, they didn't pull me over; just followed me. Just followed me from
We're,
one
we're
county
kind of
to the
spoiled out here in California. I mean,
Yeah.
we got
spoiled with what? With
just,
what though?
just the way, dude. Look at the weather. The weather alone, bro. Like,
Okay, but I didn't know what that had to do with me being followed. But okay, like, but I'm just saying, bro.
no,
Like,
well,
I
but
don't
we
feel
don't get
fortunate
stressed like that either. We don't get, unless you're in the wrong neighborhood or you're doing bad
Well, bro,
things. I mean,
but I live up north, you know, so I live where I look different than everybody else. So the cops will follow me, and then I start to talk to them, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, hey, why'd you pick me over? Why'd you pull me over?"
mhm.
And they don't know what to say because they're used to pulling me over and saying, "Oh, officer, did you see, senor?" Like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. You're a cop, and if I'm breaking the law, you know, what law am I breaking? You know, and so it's just, but that's me though. You know what I mean? But again, too, it's just I like hearing your story in it, yeah, because man, it's just. I remember that. I remember growing up, but this is San Jose in California, and there's it's a sobado, somebody who grew up, and it just trips me out that today, you know, we call them chiropractors, but
Yeah.
that's part of our indigenous culture. That person did that, and he taught somebody kind of like you're doing it, and you're taking it to the next generation. It's just interesting because like here it's been going, but you're starting the spiral again.
Yes.
You know, and so, but I wanted to. I was hoping you'd comment on. I know Ruben was saying that you had a tattoo, and what your tattoo is. If you could share that.
Well, I have my Yahweh on me.
Yes, that's okay. So,
Turtle.
did you share about that?
Well, for me, the story of my Yahweh is beautiful. Because she pretty much it's like she pretty much sacrificed herself to come to the earth to give us the maguey, because the story, well, from what I heard, you know, everyone has a different perspective on the stories, but basically the world needed at a time creator had made humanity, and they were going so much by the book that they needed something more. And so creator and I think it was Quetzalcoatl or Eheka, well, it was Quetzalcoatl, was saying, well, I could go down to that realm and go get Mayahuel, so that, you know, she can help. And so Mayahuel was in another realm where it was really hard to get to, and she was taken care of, like she was guarded by a grandmother that was really, really like mean, right? And so Quetzalcoatl like turned into a Heka, into the air, and went into that realm and took her. And so they like she was so much love that he fell in love with her, and she knew that eventually the grandmother was going to know that she had escaped that realm. So the grandmother was already on the way to go look for her and knew where she was at. So basically, when she got caught, or when they caught up with her, the grandmother killed her and chopped her up and buried her bones. And when Quetzalcoatl found out, he came back to the earth and cried over well, he gathered the bones and he buried them. And when he was crying and praying over her, that's when a big old maguey came out. And so the maguey then gave pulque for the people. So they started, you know, drinking this, you know, drink, and they started feeling happy, you know, so they started dancing. And so they started enjoying life a little bit more. And then they also had clothing as well. So they got the, you know, the hilo out of the maguey as well. And so they started making their clothing out of that. So she basically gave her life up so that we can enjoy life a little bit more. So it's a beautiful love story, you know. So
Wow.
it's like another version of like there's like different timelines of La Virgencita Guadalupe, or like Coatlicue and Tonantzin. She has different versions of her, so that's sort of in a way like the same. I'm not too sure, but from what I hear from different stories, I've heard that too. So yeah.
Well, I mean, the story, I've never heard that story.
Yeah, I've never heard that story either. But you know what, man? Is it the stories are true, and if all of us tell the story, we keep telling the story and it's going to come together. It's not like a lie. A lie is not true, so that's kind of a fucked up story, but these are true stories that all of us are getting bits and pieces. But I've never heard that piece that she said, but it makes sense. And I was going to say too, the Quetzalcoatl, Ehecatl is one of the manifestations of Quetzalcoatl. So you were correct, and so it's but that's again, but as we get more of the stories from everybody, they're going to come together and make better stories. So I appreciate that. I didn't know, but that's a good story.
I did know that, from the maguey plant we made clothing. So then
Hey, the mantel
as
in the back's agave.
as a culture made our clothing and kept us warm.
Yeah.
So that's a gift that a mother would give someone, right? So it's just us knowing how to figure that out and using the pincas of the maguey. We figured it out that it had really strong fiber and could be dyed and made different colors and all that stuff on top of the sacred drink, which is the fermented drink of pulque. Not only pulque, but it does give aguamiel, which is not fermented. It's more still on the fresher side of things. So it could give a drink for a baby, and a drink for an adult. So
the beginning and the end of life.
it gives so many gifts, it's a precious gift that and then, a colonial person will look at it and go, oh, well, that's a dangerous plant. It has thorns on it. Like, they don't know that how much of a gift it was, right?
And it messes you up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a pulque fan.
Me too.
I don't. When I went to Mexico City and I recorded the Ciudad Celestial video with Rocco, he took us to a pulqueria in Mexico City, and it was the best experience I had. It was cool. It was just the whole place was just. They had like all kinds of glyphs all over everywhere, so it looked like you were walking into a temple. And then they had different types of pulque, different flavors. And,
do they sell pulque over there in LA?
Yeah. There's a couple. You gotta know. You gotta know
like that, like in barro, like that in.
No, not like in a pulqueria or nothing like that.
Oh no!
You gotta know somebody. You gotta know somebody like from Fontana or something, because they'll usually have the pulque locked down.
Do they have them at stores over there?
No, it's not.
Over here, you find them in cans.
Oh, no way! Pulque in can? That's cool.
But you have to be really lucky, and you have to know what specs to go to. But there's specific stores that you can go to find it.
Right here, it's like through street vendors or to somebody that knows how to make it, and they have access to a maguey because it has to be a certain age before they do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool, and the tattoo is amazing. Your energy is amazing. Thank you for describing your area. It's a lot different because I didn't learn anything I learned from danza. I actually have not participated with danza. For not because I didn't like it or anything like that. It's just that there were certain things that I saw that existed in danza that I wasn't really vibing just yet. So I went into more of the philosophical side of things. I went into the maestros that came from Mexico, and I went to their lectures. And as I grew into the culture, I started practicing and going to the temescalis and then going to Sundance and then going to, not that I became a Sundancer, but I supported Sundance and learning all those ways. And then I was a part of the Peace and Dignity Run, which is the sacred run every 4 years that happened from Alaska to wherever sacred destination. So I had a lot of experience with a lot of different versions of Turtle Island, and so those were my teachings. And as I learned those teachings, I turned those teachings within myself, and that's when the fasting and certain type of diet that I have, I put it all together. So it's very different for me to hear the different. Well, it's very educational for me to hear different stories on how people got to this road, right? Because it's all one road.
Yeah.
This is all prophecy. The fact that you're going through what you're going through in whatever area you live in is prophecy, because Cuauhtémoc said that we would be the ones that remembered, and I was thinking about this because I've been talking about these Palestinian kids that are half Israeli and half Palestinian, right? And right now they're just kind of in the first generation of that mess. But we are those kids 200 years later, right? We're so far removed that we can ask somebody who clearly looks native and is Chicano or is Mexican or whatever you decide to call yourself, and go, "Hey, you're native, huh?" And he wouldn't know. I don't know. I don't know. What are you talking about? It's weird, right?
Yeah.
That's like in what I'm trying to say is, like, imagine those brand new half Israeli, half Palestinian kids not removed so far that they don't even remember. Like somebody probably said, "Hey, you're Palestinian, right?" And the guy's like, "I don't know. What are you talking about? You look Palestinian," and he doesn't even know. He doesn't know. So that's what I'm talking about. So when we're prophesized to start walking on this road, the road is wide, It could
Yeah.
be curanderismo, it could be danza. For me, it was the philosophical side of things. I almost felt like the creator grabbed me by the hair and just guided my life through whatever it needed to guide me through. I met the right medicine man at the right time that helped me
Yeah.
throughout my lifetime, and now I find myself close to my 52. What is it called, Daniel? At 52?
The Shimulpili.
The Shimubili. I find myself creeping myself closer to that. And see, at that point, now I'm at fasting. I eat once a day. I follow the Nemotemi. I think I'm right on pace to reach that milestone, So it's cool to hear you putting your practices that you learned that it almost sounds like it's been in your life all of your life, right? Because your mom was taking you to these places that,
And I saw her doing it too.
right, you see, learning, talking, especially when you're in the circle of women. I don't know what it's like, but I can imagine because I've seen it, and women have a different vibe with each other. Like they talk a whole lot. They talk a whole nother world, and I can imagine as a kid learning what yerbas, how they react, and plus everything else that happens in life during those times that are very special.
Ruben, as you're saying that, I think of myself as a kid and my mom going places and cutting plants and bringing that shit home, sticking it in water, and like
My grandmother did that.
every time I was in the yard, my mom was always in the backyard. So
I think
it's like
anybody from Texas or from
Everybody.
at least East Los Angeles has that story, because we're big yerberos just from the get. That's what, you go to East Los Angeles, it's nothing but avocado trees, and the vines are chilies, or
Oh man,
we use our land to grow our produce, I guess.
Hey, well, I'm still chilling my flowers right here in the back. I got
There
the
you
last
go.
flowers drying
Exactly.
right there.
So
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm Malinali, man. That's my shit right there. That's the last, that's the last flower of the season right there.
Hey,
Well, I'm sure you'll taste it next week, Ruben.
yeah, I can't wait, bro. I also want to say thank you, Energy, for joining the podcast, because I know you're 2 hours ahead. So I want to just validate your sacrifice and staying up a little later with us and joining us here on the West Coast. And I think it's been entertaining. I think that
We have a packed house, Zero.
dope. You see, I'm sure
The
that
chat
there's
is
a lot-
lit. We have a packed house right now.
the only thing is that I didn't get the memo. I didn't wear the hoodie and
Well,
either.
for me, I smoke. You wouldn't look cooler, I guess.
Yeah, I wanted a girl on here, right?
Are you
So
being-
we pay attention to
Hey,
fashion.
funny. See, this is what I mean about people from Texas.
Hey, but Energy, give us a little bit of background on that piece that you have.
Yeah, good question. I like that.
Amazing background. That's like it's way
Behind
better
you.
than
Yeah.
Okay, so I painted this.
Oh,
way
And
cool.
when I first got this office, I already had a vision that I was gonna put some flowers, some carnations, a big old rose to represent the colors that my grandmother liked. And then and I had my kids help me paint it. My son was helping me paint it a lot. And then I have some hidden messages in it as well. Let's see if y'all know. If y'all notice. Hold on. Let me see.
No. What are they?
So I know those look like flowers, but
Right.
they're really those right there in the corner. Those are
Mhm.
really peyotes.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah.
So because that's one of the first medicines that really, really talked to me, and so
Yeah.
I got it right here on my veins too. So this medicine is always going to live within me, and they said, when you pray with that medicine, is you could always tap back into it once it's in your veins.
No, and I experienced that too.
Mhm.
I've done a few hikuri ceremonies with some
Mhm.
I think, very powerful people. Because when you go to those ceremonies, usually the Maracame is pretty powerful dude, and he's been in it for a while. So I do feel like I'm still learning from those sits. Because you got to stay up all night, and you see the sun come in, and at least that's the way I did it. I didn't do it under the TP. It was out. It was during the outdoors in the reservations in Nanza, and so that's the way the Maracame or the person that was running the ceremony ran it. But I'm still learning from that experience. I take since my tonal and my energy is Malinali. I feel like I'm in the plant kingdom. I understand. I'm very sensitive to things of the plant world. So, like I said, those whatever visions they gave me, not too many. It wasn't like a whole vision thing. It was more like more feeling, more emotional, more connection. What are you laughing at? No.
Somebody in the chat said, "What type of porn is this?"
What type of what?
What type of porn is this?
Yeah, well, what type of distraction am I? You like, gee, did that
What type
come
of
in?
what?
There's my son, y'all.
That's cool.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
What's
What's
his
your name?
name?
Really? My name's Sergio.
Sergio. Right on, Sergio. Nice to meet
Nice to
you.
meet you, Sergio.
Got to.
Yeah, sorry I didn't tell you guys about the hoodie. You guys should. And sunglasses. And
Hey, but Sergio, I was going to comment about the heart sacrifice.
About the school.
Oh, yeah. They were just saying, like, that in the classes, like, in the class, they were saying that the Aztecs were, like, always doing, like, heart sacrifices and stuff like that. Like, so they were trying to make you think that they were doing.
Okay, so I have something to say about that, if you allow me.
Yeah, exactly. I have a shitload to say about that. But
Well, go for
ahead,
it. Well, mine's is short. I'll make mine short. What I found out today, right, is that Miquitli, right, the skull or the symbol in the Tonanashio or the Aztec calendar, it represents what, right? What does it represent to you? I'm asking your son. The skull, the symbol of the skull. What is, like, when I tell you the skull, right? What do you think it means?
Go death. Like,
Right.
easy.
Most likely, people go right to death, right? From what I understood and the way it was explained to me, was that they said that skull was a house of a heart. You see, that skull, we needed to house the heart in that skull. In other words, that skull once carried a heart. And our hearts, once they start beating, is a metaphor for dancing. So when we go back to the skull and our life is over, we will rest and transition into another dance as whatever energy we decide or whatever was given to us. So in another way, we don't. Death is very different for our understanding. It's not something that we inflict on someone.
Yeah.
Just because. It's very meaningful when we put things like that in order. It's not done wildly. But remember that we all had the perspective that the skull was the house of a dancing heart. And when that heart ends, it rests and then moves on into another form and continues to dance, right? That heartbeat. So I don't know if that helps you with understanding sacrifice, but this is actually Mexica philosophy and thought.
Yeah.
you know. But I know Daniel has a bunch of things to say about that.
Well, I'm not going to give a big soliloquy, but I'm just going to keep it really simple, Sergio. Let me ask you this:
What's up?
if we used to take the hearts out, am I supposed to believe that we stopped doing it because they said we couldn't do it? Thank you.
What'd you say earlier? Well, we're not even going to say what you said earlier.
No, it's all good.
What did you say? What did you say earlier? You said if they already said we're doing this, why we ain't doing it still?
Might as well do it again. Like,
Thank you, Sergio. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I gave a lecture, Sergio. I was in Colorado. Some guy, and you know what the guy said? He said that he had the right to teach that because his wife was from South America. Yeah. That was his reason to tell those lies. And I was like, man, you're tripping. But I mean, here's the thing. So that just straight up, okay? Like, you know, but here's another thing. All right, so if you, when you cut yourself, what comes out, Sergio? Blood. So is blood the life force? It is. It's the life force. Mm-hmm. Does a woman bleed once a month?
Usually.
Yeah. And what is that blood? It's the life force. Why are these fools talking about killing people? What are they trying to teach you? Think about that. Like, what are they trying to teach you? All the shit that we know, and they're tripped out off of a lie that's their own lie. It's not even ours. And so it's just interesting. You think about, they're educating you, like, you know, again, too, it's just, you know, think of that there's only 2 points here. There's life and there's death. Okay? And so life and death happen because as soon as the egg gets split, it's killed, and then it becomes 2, and then those die and become 4. So it's just life and death are simultaneous. Because he's right. What Ruben was talking about because Kishli is your belly button where we begin, but Mikishli is the end where we fall out. So in the language, they're even closer. And so the thing is, but I'm glad that they're giving you so much bullshit so that you can clearly see, you know, not to follow it. Because the thing is that we're Mashiach guys, and we've got 5,626 years of collective information that we're collecting. And look at your mother's just going from the DNA that's in her spiral. Think about it. Your mother's not going from history. She's going from memory, blood memory. And so these fools are talking about taking the hearts out. They don't realize that we're the blood force. We're the life force. They're tripped out on death, and we're alive, living life, you know. And so, but I just think
that's why it's important to understand the philosophy. That's why I explained it. You know, that, you know, we come from a colonial perspective where, remember, when they crossed the ocean, according to their books, according to your school books, according to history, according to all their TV, according to everything, they came to us to bring peace to us, right? Like, we were the savages. We were the ones wilding out, when it was them that, it was kind of like, you know, someone blaming you for their atrocities that they did on the world. They're like pinning it on you. That's why they obsessively talk about sacrifices.
But here's the thing, though. The last thing I would say too, the last 2 things. We don't have a word for God in our culture. There's no word for it, and there's no word for death. So they're giving us concepts that we don't even grasp. And so it just, you know, think about that. And again, too, we feel and they think. So we're never going to see, you know, we're never going to be in the same space, though. But I just think it's very important that, you know, what they're teaching us, we don't even have that concept, you know, because in our world, when we die, all of our ancestors are waiting for us. In their world, they have to judge you and decide if you're going to heaven or hell. And that's just a fucked up thing. How is that? Like, how did they have to do with your life? And again, too, it's just, it's a very interesting thing, because they talk about sacrifices. And if we did that, we did it in like the 2nd or 3rd world. We're in the 6th world now. So we're in the evolution of our society and our people. If we did that way back, think about, they're doing it today. So like they're nowhere near where we are. And so, you know, that's why you're there. You gave the best answers with my answer, but you put it in your perspective. And that's how I know your medicine is good. You know?
But you,
bless you, brother.
But you are going to be wrong if you put that on your paper.
You're right. And you know, I gotta
you know, whether we're right or wrong,
I took the beat.
Your mom was kind of mentioning going.
No, but, you know,
we're still
I'll take it.
Good man. Yeah, good man. Because
But
truth is worth
sometimes you
it.
got to stand on truth, my bro, and to defend yourself.
Sometimes.
To defend yourself, and yeah, well, you pick your battles. Sometimes you just got
It's
to
true.
walk.
That's a good point. You pick your battles.
Yeah, I mean, he would probably be the only one out of his whole school, and then that will probably bring him a whole nother perspective of problems on top.
Wow, sounds like you could relate.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, like in terms of like us being spoiled out here, I mean, my son Tlauis,
Right.
he goes to Semillas del Pueblo where they start every day with danza and they do things like that. He's surrounded by it, so.
Wow.
And truth be told, he struggles with that. That's not his favorite part.
But you know what? The cool thing about what we're
That would be
doing
dope,
in
huh?
terms of the cool thing about what we're doing is, I know the director for that school. I personally know him. Maybe he can answer questions for people that are interested in doing that over there, maybe following a curriculum. We have the right to go back to our ancestral ways. We have to be brave enough, though, to be those Palestinian kids and half Israeli kids that were born from rape. That's why I bring them up, because they're born from rape. It's clear that they're born from rape because the IDF doesn't want them, and neither do the Palestinians. So they're left in limbo. Like we've been left in limbo for this whole amount of time. But what puts us on a path is the mandate of Cuauhtémoc, because our blood still comes from that place.
Yeah.
So if our blood still comes from that place, then the mandate of Cuauhtémoc is relevant to me. And how am I going to find my way back? Am I going to go to college and learn colonial ways so they can give me an educated white perspective of who I am? Or am I going to, bite the bullet and learn on my own, trying to go to ceremonies and meeting some good ceremonies and then meeting some bad ceremonies? Let's face it, not everybody fits in those places. That's what I tell people that are trying to find their way to this red road, is that you got to go to these ceremonies and they expect, oh, wow, I go to the ceremony, it's going to be perfect. It's just everybody's going to love me and everybody's going to love each other. And then there's, and that's just not
reality.
And that's just not the way it works. You got to go until you find your community, until you find the ones that your tribe is. When you go to the Temescales and that's your tribe, that's where you go. You can go to a Temescal and go, hey, that's not for me. I didn't really like the way they ran it, blah, blah, blah.
I've done that.
So we gotta find our tribes, right? I want to clarify to people in Houston who are your friends, and I seen, before you went on, thank you for promoting a little bit, before you went on, and look at the chat. The chat's like super lit, as Mondo says, and I just kind of want to explain the name because although it does say LA natives, and I am in Los Angeles, back when we got our awakening in the 1990s.
We're in downtown LA and off of Los Angeles Street, by the way.
Yes, we're the studio's in downtown LA. But, I feel like I have to explain the name really quickly. And although it does say LA and it can represent Los Angeles, and it does represent Los Angeles in its own way, the L is for lost and the A is Aslan, because we were all lost at one point until we found Aslan. And when we found Aslan, it could be finding Aslan through danza, finding Aslan through the study of Mexican culture, Mesoamerican culture, pre-colonial culture. You can find yourself, is my point, You now have joined the team that's going out and finding these people that maybe are lost and go, hey, you know what? You have a tribe right here. This is your tribe. Go back to the medicine ways. Go back to the yerbas. Go back to the curanderas. Go back to your studying your motherland, because your motherland comes with math, science, art, spirituality, all of it. It's all in one. Once you understand the principles of how it works, then you can apply it to your life. And now you have an edge over those colonial, lazy, comfortable whites. That's the next step forward, is teaching your son what we know that took us maybe 30 years to learn. and we're already teaching it to him, right?
Yeah.
You know, and you're doing the same thing like your mother did to you. Maybe not in an indirect way. I don't know if she
Take
sat.
some time for it to. All I'm saying is there's a lot of work that still needs to be done,
But that's why we're here.
especially in here in
The-
Texas.
and I feel you because somos we're very working. We work a lot. I work minimum 16-hour days at my restaurant, you know, and I eat once a day. I have a specific diet. We have the energy to do the work
Yeah.
if we follow the path that was given to us.
Yeah.
The path isn't just going to ceremonia.
Yeah.
The path isn't just going to danza.
Yeah.
The path isn't just going and saying, look at how I am and look at my regalia. That's not the path either. The path is to treat your tonal with the most disciplined, the most caring, the most loving, so that you can be a strong warrior for your tribe in your area.
Yeah.
And as we collectively gather, like I'm sure you have your tribe in Houston, and we definitely have our LA Native tribe right here in Los Angeles. And Daniel, when we go to the Bay Area, we have people up there as well. The point is to unify Turtle Island.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own autonomous voice because everyone can be creative in the healing of our raza, in the healing of our people. Once we understand that Mother Earth is giving us endless gifts, like she gave us the Maguey plan. What is she going to give us? Now she's going to give the gift of collective consciousness, which is what the medicinal plants are. We have to follow that path. We're with her. We're not destroying her. She'll destroy us in 5 seconds, in 30 seconds. Give her 30 seconds of an earthquake, and she'll destroy everything.
Everything.
You know what, too, I was going to add in, and thinking of you in it here, is that I remember when I was studying in Mexico, they told us that the Teocalli, the Teocalli is the temple. So, but the first stone on the Teocalli is the family. And so that's how it's built strong. And so I kind of think of you as the base of the temple, and Sergio is the next level of the temple. And the thing is, and that's why we're strong, because I came from a family that my dad and my mother built a strong base for me. And so once that strong base was set, we were able to build on that. And so it's dope to see Sergio just come in, and because that's really I have to say, man, and if you hear that, we need more female energy, and it just seems like you're just perfect. And just the fact that you had a story today was just like, man, because that's really what it's about. And I wanted to say this too, that most of the best things that I share on the podcast are things that I learned from an oral tradition. I didn't read books. There weren't books. I went and I studied in Mexico, and we were in classes, and it was an oral tradition. And so, I was able to learn Nahuatl hearing it. It wasn't something that I read it in a book. And so, because back then we didn't learn that way. We learned through pictures. We didn't learn through syntax, reading words. It's a different way today, but it's just still that we've adapted to learn because our ancestors laid out the information, and even like I said, on the agave, the mantel's made out of agave. So symbols in there, these are left for us. Like the tonal machotl was in my house when I was born. It was already there. So it was already part of my life. And so I'm sure with you, Sergio, he sees it there, so it's part of our DNA. It's in our blood. And so it's interesting because you think about the Teocalli is a building that has stayed over time. You look right now and look what we're going to get into. A lot of the buildings are going to fall. And it's us as a metaphor for, that we're going to go into some really tough weather times coming up. And, people aren't talking about it, but it's coming. And so these are the type of things that we really build through community and just a strong structure. Working together, we're going to be okay. We're going to adapt. But it's,
when
you want to get going? You want to get going? Sure. Okay. I thought he was busy. It's because he was gonna get ready for school tomorrow.
And feel free.
Well, I was listening, but yeah, I did that.
He got caught up in the conversation.
He's part of LA Natives.
Jeez, have some manners.
I want to make it clear, everyone watching the podcast, make sure you guys follow Energy on our socials, on any websites. Go ahead and give us a few drops. Energy.
Yes. So y'all can follow me on Instagram. I have Aztec underscore Houston underscore massage. I also have a Tepatiani teachings as well, which is I'm going to start getting into teaching classes of curanderismo, different things of knowledge, classes, workshops as well, working with other communities on there. And then I just created a new page for my group of danza. It is called Aztec. It's literally brand new. I don't even know the. It's called Houston. Aztec dance. No, Danza Azteca. You can look it up. Yeah, danza.azteca.htx. And so our Kapuli is called Kapuli Tecuancoyot. And so that's our group. We were just born like a month ago, barely. So we finally gonna create a danza page as well, so that I can start teaching danza, and also maybe even making it available online, because I also have a lot of people in other danzantes that are kind of wondering and going solo, or even just learning. And so I want to create a space as well, whoever connects with me, whoever's vibing with me, to follow me there.
Oh, you have a bunch of pages.
A lot of
Yeah,
good,
I'm
platforms.
multitask. I got a lot of
Good luck
different things.
too. Good luck for your group.
Good for you. That's good.
Thank you.
A good beginning.
Way.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, man, it was fun having you on. Like I said, we all have our own version of this red road, and I thought that I would explain what we're doing here in Alienated podcast. Of course, we're trying to be clever. I'm a recording artist. I have music. If you ever want me to go to Houston, I can go out there and perform for you guys if you like. Daniel will bring his merchandise. He has a clothing company called the Nawak. And we've been doing this for about, 20, 25 years. So we have a good following. I feel that really is starting to concentrate here on Alienated podcast, and those that participate in my vegan restaurant in East Los Angeles on Whittier Boulevard, which is Malinali Superfoods. Those that participate in the monthly event that we have, which is plant-based Aslan. And I feel like I'm on the same road as Energy, where we're trying to take a different version, take a different path towards healing, right? You're going, use our grandmother's ways, use our grandmother's teas, use our grandmother's sobando or whatever.
So what everyone's looking at is a major announcement. For 6 years straight, Underground Hip Hop Blog has been hosting a very special event in LA called The Nightmare Before Christmas, and it's such an honor for Conejo to always headline it. It's like a partnership we have. Zero was involved in year 2.
Yeah.
And this is year 6. It's our last one.
Whoa.
And Zero, you're on the lineup.
Dope. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We got Zapata the Ghost. We got Zero. We got DJ Survive.
I love playing.
And this is a real hip hop event, guys. This is no, teeny bopper event. Rappers are on nowadays, right? Zero, Zero, what every artist is gonna bring to the table.
Well, sometimes people, like, when you do an Indigenous event, you're kind of like preaching to the choir. You're like, everybody's there that's into it. I love the challenge of meeting people who don't know nothing about the culture. And I use
Zero, you are a hardcore underground hip hop artist.
That's true.
I mean, I think I played 2 of his events. Once I just did a song, and then the other one I did an actual set at the Regent. But I always love the challenge, man. I'm not afraid of anything in any crowd, because I feel like, the poetry that I get to share with the world is a story that not many people are willing to go into, right? Because when we talk about genocide and when we talk about, you're talking about a lot of pain and hurt. And Daniel always gives me a hard time. He's like, sad poetry boy. But, that those emotions and those feelings and those hormonal mixtures with my DNA help me remember the stories. It helps me go further back. People don't want to go through that pain, but I will. And somebody had, on my path of being a recording artist, I've met a lot of people who are medicine people and people that I respect in communities. And one individual pulled me aside and said, "Hey, bro, I really respect what you're doing because I know you're going into the darkness, bro, and you're pulling out these songs."
Mm-hmm. And every year it sells out practically, right? Yeah. Like 600, 800,000 people. And this one's going to be very special because the room only fits 350. Yeah. So you already know, Zero, that it's like tickets are going to be on high demand because it's such a limited capacity. And we purposely did that.
Yeah, smart.
We want that intimate feeling for all the Conejo fans. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Conejo has over 100 albums.
And he's a movie star. No, he's been in a couple movies. And
Twisted Insane is, according to Genius.com, the fastest rapper of all times. And he's one of the sickest rappers of all times.
But, I like the chance of meeting, like I said, going into that darkness. What I mean by that is that the people that I get to play for in this event feel like they live in darkness, right? Mm-hmm. And now I get a chance to show them how great our culture is through my artistic expression, right? Through our wisdom, we can connect. I could shed light into that darkness, and I did it at the Regent. It was amazing. I got a bunch of fans from that night, And I shout out to Mondo for always being in my career, always, letting me play these events that impact a lot of individuals who would never run into this type of message. The message is that all of our ancestors live inside of us. They've gone nowhere.
And the majority of the attendees are raza or Latino, Latina, right, Israel? Right.
It's just, I wouldn't call them that, but yeah.
What would you call them? Well, they're all indigenous.
Indigenous, bro. Because think about it. Imagine I'll go back to that. Half Palestinian kid, half Israeli kid, born from rape. And now he can't even be either. We're going to make up a name for him. Let's call him, get your ass over here. Or get your ass out of here better, You guys are now, get your ass out of here. No one loves you, not on this side or that side. But it's our time to understand that we carry blood that's very sacred and ancient. And that is tied into the mandate of Cuauhtémoc saying that the prophecy would return, that we would remember. Would we remember because we read a book? No. Would we remember because someone wrote our name in a holy book? No. We'll remember because the vibration of the earth will start to vibrate in a certain way. It'll start to dance. It'll start to move like a snake, like the skin of a snake. And it'll go through our bodies, and we will walk in this manner and way. This is what our old abuelo told us. So those that walk in this path, those that walk in this way, those that create events, like we create Indigenous Peoples Day, Plant-Based Aslan, we have Malinali Superfoods every day, except for Mondays. Then I'm at Venice with Daniel or someone. Our job is to just be ourselves now, and not doubt our approach, our wisdom, and be humble enough to let people teach us too.
But also be unapologetic about it too.
Somehow I figured you would say that. That little chip on your shoulder, but it's all good. That's the energy that I wanted to feel, with this podcast. I felt like, that it was a good mix, and to have a female represent and have a voice and describe her passion, and to be far away, you're not down the street. You're not like still in
Yeah.
California. You're like in Texas now, and it's later there. And again, I want to thank you for taking the time and staying late. Because we're at 10:20 almost
Yeah.
over here on the West Coast. So I appreciate your time and
No
your energy, hermana. And yeah, follow her on IG.
Yes.
And if you have any last words or you want to say anything,
Well, just I'm very grateful for y'all having me and just inviting me to have some words here. So I really appreciate that. Giving me a voice to also be heard and just express my experience as well on my path. So thank you for that.
no
Really.
problem. I mean, like I felt like I did the first round of saying, we need a female to come on the podcast and, kind of represent. And you responded, and I think we went back and forth on
Yeah.
DMs. But I never really followed up on it, and it didn't seem like we had a good conversation until we spoke on the phone.
Yeah.
And then, we kind of settled what this is, because you're like, oh, you're very political. And it's like, we're not. As you can see, did you feel like we were political? I don't feel like we're political. I feel like,
Well, on the stories when I went to go see like y'all's podcast, I do see like y'all do have a lot of political stuff. So I'm like,
we
I
have
get
opinions.
nervous.
We have opinions on political news or whatever the current news is, but it's not a political show. It's more about a show that's going to kind of guide you or point you or introduce you to someone like who knows, who lives in Houston, who wants to get into danza, or who wants to join your group. They live close to you. They follow your page. Now you have another community member, and the tribe gets bigger.
Yeah.
But I suggest that we limit our tribes at 20 families, 20 people, because at 20, we still can kind of organize ourselves in a way where ego doesn't start to take control. But that's just my suggestion. You guys are free to do whatever you want, but I know that the abuelos laid down a number system for us to follow. And I mean, I've built my body up through that number system, 13 through 20 through 52, through all these numbers. They're placed there for a reason. So yeah, as we grow this community, which is called Los LA Natives Podcast, broadcast from downtown LA. Shout out to Underground Hip Hop Blog for always putting me on the coolest shows and guiding my career and giving me this platform called LA Natives Podcast. But I mean, I would love for you to come back if you want and
I'd love to.
just share your opinion, man. I think you have good energy. I think you have an amazing background. It's better than ours. I mean,
That's funny.
Well, if y'all need me to go do a mural for y'all, I
oh
will.
man, let's go. Right here.
No, but honestly, I want to give my flowers to energy because it's like it takes a special person to walk that red road. You know what I'm saying? And to influence the younger generation. Like, yo, why do you think that way? Or why do you see shit like that? Or what's up with those tattoos?
Right.
What's that music that you're listening to? It's some indigenous shit.
Right.
Like that's how people get influenced.
Mhm.
Like I got influenced into my indigenous culture, my Mexica culture through music. Nothing else taught me anything else but music. And it just allowed me to dig deeper.
Right.
You know?
It's a powerful tool.
And that's something that I actually really like to share a lot on my, Houston Aztec massage page. Like I'm always either posting pictures or just posting videos of artists on there too, because again, you don't really hear a lot of native rap or native music out here. So
Well, good.
I love
And
sharing.
if you know any artists that are from Houston that would like to come to Los Angeles, and we can figure out, because we do events here in Los Angeles. We do Indigenous Peoples Day once a year. That's October 13th or around that time of Columbus Day. But then we also do the intermediate events, with Armando's help when we'll get like the Catch One or some other club. And we'll put on, I like to bring people from Canada. I know some people from New Mexico. I was hitting up Natani Means, who's from New Mexico, but I would love to get, some cultural artists, people that speak about our culture down here in and expose them to Los Angeles, as well as offer my performances out there. So I have a couple people that I could bring with me. I feel like that will be a good fit. And, that's the point of our communities, is to kind of go and kind of meet each other, right? Go out there, you guys come out here, and know that we're all one big familia living on the back of Turtle Island, and that our communities need to be strong, opinionated, rooted. And it seems like that's what you're doing there in Houston. And good, big ups to you and your community.
Thank you.
People will always look. We deal with the same things here in Los Angeles. People telling us that we can't do things, and they treat us that way because we're the orphans. Like we're the people that don't have grandparents that've been teaching us for generation after generation. But when we harness our own understanding of ourselves and understand, okay, yes, I am a product of rape, but there's some old abuelos that are guiding me. They're whispering in my ear. They're telling me to be brave, to challenge myself with these ceremonies, with these medicines, with this road. This is what gives us the fuel to keep going. This is what helps us create LA natives, Malinali superfoods, plant-based aslan, and everything else that we do. We are that prophecy.
Yeah.
We're what he talked about. It gives me chills just to think that he was talking about us.
Yo, on social media, I got a updated Masasin sighting.
Nice.
Uncle Masasin, dude, he's
Absolutely.
back on social media.
Do you guys know Masatin out there? Masatin is he's been studying the Tonal Machio, which is the Aztec calendar, for 25 years. So he does really good tonals. Like he can tell you what, by the time of birth, your birth date, where you were born, what your tonal is, right? I'm sure you met somebody who's done that to you out there in Tejas. But Masatin is pretty much the information. And he knows so much stuff, man. It's just, that's what I'm saying. Like over there, you can get into danza, or you can meet someone you go to Masatin lecture, and then it leads you to Osolocoat lecture, and it leads you to Akamapishli lecture. And there's so many people that come from different parts of Mexico that carry that old wisdom. And then once they give you that information, then it's up to you to make the calculations, to plug in or to put the piece of the puzzle into your blood, because that's where memory is stored. Once you start to understand the number system, once you understand the science, then the art and spirituality come naturally. At least that's what I've been experiencing.
The way you explain that to me reminds me of how the anatomy works as well. Like when we injure ourselves, we have muscle memory. So what happens is you injure yourself, and automatically, say you already healed that area. Like say you basically twist an ankle, right? And you already healed it, but somehow you always have something that either you step hard on that ankle, or you already feel before you're gonna do something, and you jerk back real quick because your muscle memory remembers of how your ankle would get hurt if you walk a certain way or certain things, and automatically it's that muscle memory. So when you talk about that, it reminds me that it's true, because in our anatomy, that's just the way our body is also built. Right. So it only makes sense if our conscious and our spirit is connected. And that's the beauty of curanderismo, that it's an intertwine of the mind, the physical, the body, the anatomy, but also the spirit, right? Our spirit and our aliento, right?
Well,
our alma, but then also the emotional. And a lot of people forget about the emotion part, and the emotion has a lot to do with our healing too.
Well, here's where emotion is important. Okay. Emotion is communication. It's communication.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Emotion is communication. It may People may describe emotion as somebody going, "Oh, look at him, he's getting all emotional and he's saying all these things," but really he's feeling these things. And
Mm-hmm.
this comes from the exchange of mother to fetus through the umbilical cord, then the blood. This
Mm-hmm.
is why we have memory in the
Memory,
blood.
right?
The
Mm-hmm.
memory in the blood is the hormones and the blood coming
Mm-hmm.
together and creating this emotional feeling,
Mm-hmm.
adrenaline, whatever it is.
Right.
This is the way I describe this communication. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
now we know that the mom is giving blood to the fetus. So this blood goes back thousands of years. Women carry blood. This is why they attack our women. This is why they attacked our women, because
Mm-hmm.
they knew that they carried the blood from thousands of years. Why was that important? Because in that blood, there's information. What information? The blood cells remember the anxiety, the fear of
Mm-hmm.
ceremony, of the mezcal, of these certain rituals.
Yeah.
Then we ourselves release these hormones, and the blood cells communicate to each other and go, I remember. That's the memory. Boom.
Yeah. Pretty much, and that's also how we carry traumas too, through even being in the womb, being carried in the womb as well. So like going, like you said, going through the temascales, you remember like home, right? You go back and you're reborn. So
Mm,
it's like you shed a part of you, and yeah, that's what creates the healing.
right. Because,
Hmm.
like I said, we have to face, like, I understand that my grandfather was an alcoholic. This is why I don't have the same relationship with alcohol that others have. I'm not
Yeah,
saying that I don't drink at all. I drink a cider, I'll drink pulque.
it's in your blood. You
Yeah.
got to be more careful.
It's just something that
Hmm.
I don't indulge on it at all.
Hmm.
100%. I do not indulge on it. And sometimes I'll even pass because I'm more of a cannabis smoker. But
Hmm.
I told my grandfather that lives inside of me, that lives in my blood cells, that I'm not
Hmm.
going to take that path.
Right,
I'm not going to be an alcoholic,
right.
right? I'm going to understand my connection with women, and I'm not going to be a womanizer. I'm
Hmm.
sorry, I'm not going to follow that path.
Yeah.
These are the internal, these are the traumas that we don't even know anything about. Like, I don't know about that drama, but I know that my grandmother's blood lives in me and her trauma was transferred onto me. This is why she was obese. That's why I chose to fast, to live a
Hmm.
life of fasting, so I could tell my grandmother, Grandma, this is what it's like to feel strong, healthy, focused,
Hmm.
where food doesn't rule our lives.
And it's beautiful that if you have that elder you talk to, like your grandmother, and you tell them that, like, you're even healing them, because that's something new for them as well. There's a lot of older folks that didn't even know what that word meant, trauma. They didn't even know they did anything wrong. They just survived. And so that's something else really beautiful about our path, when we heal, because it's like we heal ourselves, but we're healing those as well in our bloodline, you
Mhm.
know? So it's beautiful. It's hard work and it's a son of a gun, but it's worth it at the end of the day, I feel.
It's our perspective on what we're trying to do or accomplish in our with our tonal,
Yeah.
which are with our opportunity to live life.
I feel like it's a calling too, though.
True. I mean, I you're right. I mean, I've never felt like I.
Because, I mean, there's some people that are born into like this practice and stuff like that, but I feel like they're also not as connected too. So I feel like,
I think your tonal has a lot to do with your life path. Like if I explain mine is Malinali. I own
mhm,
a vegan restaurant that revolves around plants, and it's called Malinali Superfood. So I'm like in my path. I'm in my lane. I understand what I'm doing with the formula that was given to me through this quest that I had of following my tonal and following my energy. So you're right, we are born with it. It's just,
mhm,
do we have control of what powers or energies are given to us? Are we utilizing them? Or are we just putting them on a shelf and going, yeah, they're not really,
I feel like some people are just a little bit more awake than others, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer for others. And I just feel like it's like also like creators like work like in itself, like timing, you know?
True. That's why most of the message that, all of my message is really to look internal.
Yeah.
Because when you focus on you, like, this is why I have the disciplines that I have. So
Mm-hmm.
that I don't, I can walk and talk it.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's there with me all day. He knows that I don't break discipline usually. I'm usually pretty disciplined on everything that I set out to do, you know? So this is a part of being this is a part of being, at least for me and for my communication through fasting, through doing having the connection that I have with myself. I think it's kind of similar to a woman's internal connection when they go through their part of the cycle, right? The woman has a certain part of the cycle that she's connected with, and so does a man, I think, through fasting. You reach those levels. Because what you're doing with fasting is that you're keeping your blood clean so the memory and the hormones connect easier, so the memory's quicker, it's faster. Now, the memory isn't just so that you can store it in your mind, it's so you could apply it in your life. And this is the understanding that I've come to. And with doing that, I heal my grandmother, who is gone. She died at 55 from diabetes. But guess what? I'm 50 and I'm in good health. I'm giving her.
I hear you, but I feel like it's still different though. Like fasting as a man than a woman on her
Absolutely.
moon for sure, because I feel like even I could fast and I feel you what you're saying. Like you clean everything. Like your brain feels like fresh. Like because I've done it too to get prepared for ceremonies, for big ceremonies. You know, so it works. Like it's powerful too. It like gets all of like it gets you very in tune with yourself for sure. But like when we're on our moon, it's a whole nother thing. And then like if it's women who are connected to their womb, because that's another thing too with some women.
Yeah.
And that's also another service that I give here is connecting them to their womb, because a lot of the women carry the trauma of rape from their ancestors, from their abuelas, you know, and so they go into these relationships not knowing that they carry that. And so when I work on people, I make them aware. I just guide them, and these things come up in our sessions. And so um, the women who do practice in like the yoni steam and also like connecting to their womb and things like that, like that's where it gets really more deep, and the woman becomes to involve more themselves as like that very feminine energy, which is also strong energy, right? But she becomes more of the aware of the emotions that she carries, and not so much of carrying that like that warrior stance always, you know, like when the woman does work with her own womb, you know, we even could even offer our blood to the earth, and it becomes more than just a fast, you see. So it's
That's why.
different.
That's why I said that. Like, it's. I can only speak for men.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really impose my practices on anyone,
Hmm.
especially not a woman, because
Yeah.
I know women have their own world, and so that's good that you pointed it out.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to impose
No,
any
no, no, I know.
other, but I don't have that physical phenomenon that happens. So I have a different, like, look, for me, a man, at least because I'm a man, I can only speak for men.
Yeah.
I need to be alert. I need to be strong, fast, and able to create. Think that those are all my things, and fasting helps me do that. But I'm only speaking about what male experience is. I'm sure that there's times where women fast, but I can't have an opinion on that because I'm not a female. And I'm glad that you clarified things on the female side
Yeah.
because this is what we needed here. I want to give a perspective. I can't comment on things like that. You know, I wouldn't even dare to comment things on things like that because because I mean I've been checked by a lot of women, you know, and my ex partner was someone who did similar things that you do, you know, and so I don't like to have that opinion. I know exactly how sacred the women are, and they have a right to have their own voice. And it doesn't mean that I'm fully submissive to women either, because I have my challenges too. And I think I have to, you know, stand on my ground as well, because a man's strength is his intellect. How intellectual, how wise, what kind of direction is he going to have? You know, and you do that, and you judge that by his practices. You can tell a lot by a person's practices. So that's my perspective. And this is why it's important to have an opinion from a woman, because I wouldn't have said that. And no one else in Alienated. I know we have a lot of female listeners as well. And they deserve that voice. They deserve that. Oh, you know what? You're right. You know, but it shouldn't be something that we butt heads on, because I feel like females and males need to live in harmony, coexist, respect each other. We still have a long road to that, because most of the people that have hurt me in my life have been females. Like, and I mean emotional, psychological.
That they hurt you?
Yeah, like my mother, like, would drop me off for weeks at a time with, you know, not to throw my mom under the bus. This is a whole lot, and we've gone through a whole healing process of that.
Well, you and I then have similar but opposite. Me too. My first heartbreak was a man. You
Yeah,
know, my dad. So
yeah, yeah. So we have our traumas, right? Like, that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Like, I'm on the path of relearning the matriarchal system, our respect. But I also can't lose myself and completely agree with things that I don't agree with. And you know what I mean? I got to have my own voice too.
Yeah.
And
I think it's more of like having respect for one another, but also like having grace with each other too. You know,
that's
sometimes just listening and like not taking things personal is what I've learned too on my path. But yeah, that's like especially like in relationships is hard. You know.
yeah, no, and that's the challenge that we face. That's why I'm saying we have a long road to go before we meet in front of the fire and it's all harmonious, and it isn't, we're not carrying traumas that we don't even, from people we never even met in our lives, because we carry
Yeah.
that blood. But that's the part of being a warrior, is understanding that you're carrying blood that has been abused for a very long time. This is what gives me strength to do the disciplines that I have, you know, to know that I'm the vessel that gets to be strong. I'm the vessel that gets to be healthy. I'm the vessel that gets to create this community and this restaurant and follow my tonal and understand the relationship I have with the tonal mashio and following the tonal lama. These are all my tools.
Yeah.
And then it all culminates and concentrates with the platforms that I create and the music that I create as well.
Well, I gotta give y'all respect. Y'all are doing amazing, and I'm proud of y'all
Thank you.
for
Yeah.
speaking up and doing this work, man. Seriously.
Well,
It's
it's
awesome.
our prophecy, you know. Like, I would feel empty. I don't think I could do anything else. Like, I always told people, like, if I'm broke, it's because I'm my art. You know, if I'm rich, it's because of my art. Because I put the energy to, and it's not to be rich. It's not that. That was just like a metaphor of, like, you know, just being able to sustain yourself off of your art, like you're doing. You're doing an amazing job. My
It's-
ex partner does her thing with her practice. She's very popular as well, and she sustains herself. That's why I'm saying, like, I can't really have an opinion on women, and
Yeah.
especially entrepreneurial women, because that's a whole nother vibe, you know, because they're leaders in their own self. But I stick to my philosophy. I stick to my art. I stick to what I know. I stick to what I practice, and 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 hopefully I can inspire other individuals to come to terms with their own mirror and understand what they need to work on themselves and heal the intergenerational trauma that they carry. Because that's what it means to be a warrior. Carry that trauma and make the right decision. Simple. You got to fight through that trauma and make the right decision. Because
True.
this world didn't promise you an easy road. It didn't promise you. Not once have I ever heard an elder. I have never heard anyone say, "Hey, this life is going to be easy for you." No, I've never heard that.
Right. But also learning how to balance trying to be the best version of yourself, but also balancing out what Maya left us, like enjoying life and being happy as well and dancing and celebrating, because like I feel like being disciplined, it helps us tremendously. I mean, and there's other people that need more discipline than others, you know, depending, like you said, what they're carrying on their own and stuff. But like my consejo as a curandera would be like, you know, enjoy life a little too, you know, don't take it serious all the time, you know, like have a good time, you know, laugh about it, laugh about some of the things, like damn, like we really messed up a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like have a good time as well. Like laughter is like one of the best medicines, you know.
absolutely. I agree. I agree. I'm not a stiff. I hope I didn't. Yeah, I'm pretty.
Because I get a lot of people like even I also get hate because like, you know, I didn't practice this like full on, you know, I fell into this, but like you know, I back then I wasn't like this at all. Like you find me like back in the days, like fighting men, you know, like not even fighting girls. Like I was such a tomboy, like, you know, I get disrespected by a dude, and you know,
Wow.
I was just like, I grew up with brothers. I grew up with brothers.
Yeah.
Like that's all I was taught was fighting. So like that's all I knew. So that's what I come healing from.
I
I
mean, don't get
healing
me
from
wrong.
that.
I'm also a recording artist, so I mean, cannabis is a part of my life. I do a lot of things that are fun, but
Yeah.
when it comes to like my diet, my spirituality, my focus on life,
Yeah,
what I spend my energy on, you know, it's rooted in my ancestral way.
for sure.
Because I have to pick, not that I had to pick a side that like
You accepted
remember.
your true self.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, I had to really realize that one, it's not my fault that I'm a product of rape or genocide and that I don't know my indigenous lineage. But everyone on the street tells me, "Hey, you're native, right?" You know, yeah, yeah, of course I'm native, you know, but I like to tell myself, and I feel like my body communicates well with itself. I feel like I'm 200 years removed from my proper lineage or way of life, right? But I also have memory. I also have that blood. And yes, it's mixed with European blood. Let's be real. My grandmother on my dad's side was, I think, a product of an early marriage. So they married her at like 15 or 14 or something like that to a white man who happened to be French. Again, rape.
Yeah.
So I can't, I'm not at war with that. What I
Yeah.
do is I sit that bloodline in my Kali and I tell them how to be a human and how to interact with energy on this earth. That's the way I feel. Like I'm here to teach this soul or this energy or whatever this representation is, because I have to transcend that child that nobody wanted because I was half this or half that, right? I had to transcend that. And I do that by the practices and having discipline. But I do have a good time a lot. I mean, I love going on tour and, you know, people who've been on tour with me, we have a good time. We laugh a lot. Definitely laugh a lot. So I want to give you the wrong impression that I'm.
No. Todo bien, todo bien.
But anyways, hey, it was amazing to have you on. Thank you for sharing your time. And I don't know where Daniel went. What happened with Daniel?
Daniel was the other one with the hoodie.
Yeah. No, he didn't have a hoodie, did he? I don't think so.
The one next to you?
No, this is Sky.
Yeah, I think Daniel put like a pillow over the camera and just disappeared.
I think he's taking his dab.
Taking his dab.
Okay, so the other guy with the t-shirts in the back is Daniel.
That's Daniel.
And then who's Armando?
Armando is the guy
me.
you don't get to see. He's
Why?
I'm always behind the scenes, running the boards, producing the show.
Yeah, he's on the board and he's doing the
moderating the
computer.
comments.
Yeah.
Oh, are you answering the comments too?
No, we don't have somebody to answer the comments just yet. So.
Ya ves, you need extra help.
Yeah, we're trying to put it all together, but it was an amazing conversation. And like I said, I welcome you back. It's up to you. It's I know you go into the wee night hours over there.
It's about to be 1:00.
Oh man! But great conversation. I feel like you're gonna have good content for your page, and you kind of brought what I felt needed to be brought to LA Natives podcast. Daniel, is that you?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I can't see.
I don't know what's up with my camera, dude. I'm just like you said. I got a pillow over my face, but I was enjoying the conversation, bro. I was like,
Hey, the
thing is, bro, I always give you a hard time.
By the energy, man. She's,
no, it's perfect. The thing is funny, bro. I always tease you about Sad Poetry Boy and who was out today.
Yeah,
but bro, that's just one side. The thing is, man, it's just funny. I just know you've got those, but as you talk about it, it's like you conquer it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, I go back to feel that so that I could show how strong we are to survive it. We've survived that.
Right.
There's no way around it. I'm a product of rape.
But it's a crazy reflection, you two. You know what I mean? That's what trips me out. Like in it, he has story. It's damn. That's a wild reflection.
But go for it. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I was going to say, can I hop off really, really quick and I'll be right back? Or
sure. Yeah. Or you could say goodbye.
Actually, you know what? We're actually going to be logging out in 1 minute.
Oh.
So
yeah.
Okay.
Just say your last words and then I'll have my last word. But thank you for joining. I appreciate your time. I know you got to go. It's late out there, but go for it.
Yeah. No, well, I just wanted to say thank y'all, everyone, and hopefully this wouldn't be my last time here on the podcast. I had a lot of fun talking to y'all guys, and so
keeping us.
Yeah, hopefully y'all come over here and visit. Over
yeah,
here
absolutely.
In the H town, baby.
Yeah.
So, gotta represent the H. I don't know about all them stories talking about it's bad over here, man. It's dope over here. Y'all need to come over here and visit.
That's good to hear. That's
sure,
a good invitation.
I love to go out there and perform and kind of meet the community out there. And thank you for coming on. You too, Daniel, man. You always contribute the dope side of our podcast too, because we're all kind of like 10 years apart. I think I'm 10 years older. You're 10 years older than me, right, Daniel? Hello? Is Daniel there? Did he leave?
6 years older. 6 years older than you.
Are you
He's
60?
not 60.
No.
Right. I'm 56.
Is that what was that?
56. Hey, I don't know what's up with my camera, man, but I'm still here, right?
Yeah.
So here,
we just can't see you.
Okay, yeah, I can't see me either. But anyways, that's all good. But I was gonna say, man,
Maybe
I think
your camera's off.
I don't know how to turn it on. But here's the thing, in it here, I think you guys, man, that's a perfect. She's real good, man. What's cool is to get somebody on who's just comfortable,
Yeah, and she's a female. Like she brought good points about.
Yeah, no, good.
I was just talking about what I do as a male to kind of do my part in terms of trying to match energy, or I don't know what you would call it, but I definitely don't want to speak for females, and they have their own practices. So I'm glad she made that clear.
And it was cool to have her son on, though, honestly, Sergio. So big up to the
and talk about a good topic, and then we got to expose LA Natives to a community out there in Houston, Texas. So once
Right.
again, shout out to Energia for joining our podcast. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Anyone that listened from Houston, Texas, we appreciate you joining our community. You know, we happen every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Shout out to Underground Hip Hop Blog.
Yes.
Thank you, Armando, for inviting me to play at the Conejo show. That's going to happen on December 21st. So we're going to start promoting that.
It's
And
gonna be a good show.
yeah, it's important to understand that there's other people like us in other places on Turtle Island, and that we need to start building these connections and start traveling there and start creating our own reality, because we have the community in which to do so. And I feel like this podcast was amazing, and it was pretty cool. And I'm sure that the chat had a lot to say. Shout out to the chat, who's always contributing to LA Natives podcast. So thank you so much for everything for this community. I think I just feel really grateful about being. What episode are we on, Armando?
112.
112 episodes. Man, I would have never thought. Like, I thought we'd be done at like 50. But I mean, we're like barely growing, I feel. And the community's growing. And we reached out to Houston, Texas this time. Hopefully we get some more people from all over Turtle Island. Obviously, we went as far as Canada. The movement's growing. It's our time.
We had Chicago in the building.
Yeah, Chicago. I mean, it's our time. Mother Earth is calling us together. It's time for us to look at each other and look at the good qualities that we have instead of the differences or what we're doing wrong. We're one family. And my Uncle Al in the Sweat Lodge used to say, one heart, one mind, one voice, one community.